So something I've noticed with a lot of businesses out there that don't really use social media like that is that they're very hesitant on running Facebook ads or any type of ads online to generate them more leads or business. They're skeptical about it, and people say, oh, that they don't work and all that. But the problem is that most of the people who are saying that, they've either worked with the wrong person or they've tried to run an ad and they don't know exactly what they're doing. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys just a breakdown on how you can make sure that your Facebook ads could work and how you can reach more customers by structuring it the right way. A lot of people will complain about Facebook ads because they say it's too expensive, that it doesn't work, that you don't reach the right targeted demographic, you don't reach the right audience. While your ad is out there, there's no avoiding bad leads. You're gonna get some bad leads, right? I think the problem is that what's the amount of bad leads compared to the good ones you get. So for example, right, I have a landscaping client who got 100 leads off the last ad that we ran. Now he closed 4 of those clients. Out of those 4 clients, he spent about $1,000 on it, and he closed 4. And so it might sound like a little bit, right? But from those 4 clients, it brought him an extra $4,000 per month. So he invested $1,000 and got a 4x return. So yes, you do have to spend money, and it did take a couple of weeks for him to actually get that back. But in due time, you are going to find some qualified leads throughout. And even if they don't close right now, you still add them in the pipeline and follow up with them later to see if they're ready to actually purchase the service. And I think a lot of times also people don't spend enough money on the ads. I think he spent at the minimum $30 a day, which is the minimum you should be spending if you want to get results. If you're spending anything less than that, you're not going to get that many people, because the more money you spend, the more money it gets put in front of their face. And in order to close a sale with anything, right, like whenever you buy something, how many times did it take for you to see it to actually be like, you know what, I'm actually going to purchase this? It's the same thing with ads. You need to keep running it, put more money behind it so it can get in front of people more often, and eventually it's going to target and see who's interacting with the post, put it in front of their face more, and then from there, that's how you generate the lead, and then you go through the process of pre-qualifying them. So a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't go through that process, which is why they say that, oh, Facebook ads don't work, but they do work. You just gotta test it, take time with it, and make sure you follow up with the leads. And that's another thing too. People get leads off the Facebook ads and they don't follow up with them. So what's the point of running the ad if you don't even want to talk to the client? Now, again, and then some people's back-end system with following up with people is a little bit messed up, but that's a whole different topic, a whole other story. But in this video, I'm going to really talk about why you need to run Facebook ads and how. And the next time you decide to run it, just keep these things in mind so you know how you're going to structure the ad and target that right demographic. So the first reason why you should run Facebook ads is simple: lead generation and automation. So a lot of home service based businesses, I work with home service based businesses mostly, but this applies to any business. So a lot of it is word of mouth, which is the best way to get business. And you can even do like physical newsletters, you can do direct mail, and you can even reach out to them through Instagram and your content, right? Through your organic content. But with ads, you're immediately letting people know of the service that you do, right? Now, the structure of the video, I'll get into that a little bit later, but you're putting it right in front of their face. So whenever you're out and you're networking with people, you're telling people about your business, you're doing it in person, but then online, you also have your ads running and you're reaching out to so many people, letting them know about what you do. So you're in a way, you're duplicating yourself. Now you're in person telling people about your business, doing wherever you're at, wherever you're driving, if you have a sign on your truck or whatever, and then your ad is telling all the people who are just scrolling on their phones all day. It's great being in 2 places at once, right? So now you're owning the demographic in person and digital. So you don't know who's going to come from lead generation, on their phone. There could be somebody who literally can't go outside or works from home and they don't really have time to go and cut the grass, they're always on their phone. You can have that type of person that is looking like, oh damn, like I saw this ad come through to me, I need my yard work, and I could have somebody do that for me if they need whatever job that they need, right? Like if they physically can't do that job or don't want to do it, they see your ad while they're scrolling through, and boom, it solves their problem. Instead of you always having to knock on doors or depend on word of mouth. Like you have that ad running so you can show people exactly what you do. Number 2 is that you can correctly set the right demographic and audience that you want to target. So with ads, there's a way that, you know, you can make it very broad where you can just reach out to anybody, right? But in Facebook ads, you can go through a detailed demographic to see like, all right, I want to target this percentage of households that make this amount of income. You can target the specific industries like construction companies, landscaping companies, HVAC, plumbing, whatever industry that you want to target, right? So then over time, what Facebook would do is within the first 2 or 3 days, your ad will show to everybody, like your followers, whatever. They'll probably be like, or depending on the area that you target, they'll be like, oh, I saw your ad, right? Even though it's not really intended for them, but Facebook is trying to acquire that information of, all right, who's really interacting with this ad. Over time, your followers, the people you're not targeting, are not going to interact with the ad, and it's going to go target more of the people who are actually watching it for a longer time. They're actually clicking on the link, so then it knows to go back to them. So that's the cool thing about ads, right? Like, yes, you do have to invest a little bit of money in it. Like I said, at the minimum $30 a day, but it's all a test, right? You're only spending what, like $100 for the first 3 days, and you're seeing like, all right, what type of information they can gather, and then from there you just have to let it do its thing and let it run its course. So there's metrics to see if people are engaging with your ad or not. So if people aren't engaging with your ad within the first 3 days, if you're not getting enough clicks, then that goes to show like, all right, well, at least I guess the video I made or the graphic that I did or the ad copy that I wrote isn't that good, so I would have to go and make changes to it. I recommend only doing one change at a time. So I think the first thing that I would do is, if I saw like somebody really not clicking on my ad, is I'll look at and see, you know, which ones are getting the most clicks and which one's getting the least clicks. Whichever one's getting the least clicks, I'll go ahead and take that one out. And then if one is getting most of the clicks, then okay, I'll just let that one run itself. And if you don't want to take it out, maybe you could change a few words. You know, sometimes the simpler the better. I've seen ads that are like very beautiful flyers, very beautiful videos, but they don't convert well because there's just too much going on. So again, with the ads, you want this to convert, right? You want people to, because people already don't trust that anyways. You know, it's like, oh, like another commercial. Like it can get annoying sometimes. So the best way to relate to them sometimes is to be as simple as possible, direct, and make sure that, you know, you touch on their pain points and everything. So you can structure the ad very tailored towards that person that you really want to target, instead of just always just passing out flyers, knocking on doors, hoping to see who is interested in it. You're just kind of guessing, right? Like now this is a more strategic approach to it. So that's a good benefit from it. The third reason is that it's cost effective. So traditional advertising and marketing can be very, very expensive, like doing all the printouts and takes up a lot of time too. Just going, knocking on doors, going to different events and networking, it takes up a lot of time. With ads, you can structure the budget a certain way. So if you don't want to start with $30 a day, you can easily just start with $10 a day and see how that performs. If the $10 a day, if they're actually clicking on the video, they're looking at it, then that's when you're like, you know what, this video has good potential, or this flyer has good potential to converting. Let me increase the budget on it because it shows already that I started with $10 and people are already engaging with it. Then it's going to give you a better feeling to like, you know what, if I increase it, then it'll probably lead to more conversions. I've done that with my ads multiple times, and it literally works. I never start off with $30 a day. I always start off with $10 a day just to kind of ease into it, to make sure that, okay, like people are at least engaging with that, right? And then from there, I up the ante on it and I increase the budget, so then I can actually get those conversions. So it could be pretty cost effective depending on how often that you're tracking it and how you want to structure it at first. So, you know, from with traditional marketing, you have to pay that price sometimes immediately. So sometimes it could be at a disadvantage of you if you don't really know what the return is going to be, you know, based off the statistics. Another reason is that it's easy to track how well the advertisement is doing. When you do traditional marketing, you have to, again, pay a lot of it up front, right? And then over time, you kind of you have to do the math manually. You have to kind of guess how much the traditional marketing converted, right? With ads, you could literally track the amount of people who are clicking on it, the people who actually fill out the form, and then you could funnel them into your CRM to where you can go ahead and follow up with them. And if they close the deal, then it's easy to know, like, all right, like this came from Facebook. So it's very easy to track. And now you know, like, all right, well, if I spend this amount of money, this is the amount of customers that I can get. You know, with traditional, you're kind of doing it manually, you have to wait over time, and it can get very expensive, like, you know, at first. So from here, it's just way easier to track. And the last reason is that you want to stand out from your competition. So obviously you want to dominate your market whenever you're running ads, right? And a lot of what your competition is doing is they're doing the same type of marketing. And with ads, it gives you an advantage to be like, all right, well, you know, I'm getting in front of these customers before you can. You know, like a lot of your competition is going to be, if you're a home service based business, right? A lot of your competition is going to be doing like, all right, just out in the field or in networking events, but they're not doing the digital side of it. You could come in and do the digital side and get more leads just off of that. Now, if you really wanted to take a step further, this doesn't have to do with ads, right? But if you really want your ads to work even better, that's where you start filling your page with a lot of organic content. Because what I've seen is that when a lot of people click on these ads, right, they click on the page, and a lot of these pages, they don't have content. It's just like 2 or 3 photos and it looks like a scam. You don't want to look like a scam whenever it comes to ads, because ads are already kind of scam-ish, or they get a bad reputation. So if you have your page already filled with organic content, running ads is only going to be beneficial for you because it makes you trustworthy. And especially if you're emotionally connecting with them every single time with your organic, and you add the emotion in the ads, there's no way literally that it won't convert into a paying customer. We've done this before for a landscaping company where we had his page doesn't really have a lot of organic content, but we put up several pieces of owner facing content, and he ended up connecting with some other landscaping owner who didn't want to deal with his route of clients anymore. So he decided to sell it to my client because he saw that he was Puerto Rican and that he really liked his personality. So saw the ad, clicked on the page, saw a couple of videos he did, really connected with him, closed the deal. Now that's bringing him more profit in the business monthly. So just off of that organic and Facebook ad approach. If you really enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for sticking around to another Storyteller Facebook ad and video strategy session, and I'll see you in the next video.